Good evening. Tonight we need to talk about football, or, as it's known here, soccer. The beautiful game, the global spectacle that unites billions, has just spectacularly ghosted the United States. In a move that stunned the world, FIFA has stripped the US of its co-hosting rights for the 2026 World Cup. The biggest party on the planet is no longer coming to America. Instead, it's heading north, to Canada. This isn't just a sports story, it's about politics, power, and what happens when a global institution decides America is too much of a liability. For years, the US promised state-of-the-art stadiums, massive crowds, and a financial windfall. Cities from LA to New York poured money into preparations. Now, all of that has vanished, leaving behind broken contracts, bewildered mayors, and a monumental national embarrassment. The decision, announced just hours ago, boots the US out of a tournament it was meant to dominate as host. All 78 matches, scheduled for American soil, including every game from the quarterfinals onward, have been moved to Canada. Canada, originally set to host just 13 games, is now the sole host of the entire 104-match, 48-team mega-tournament. Mexico keeps its small share, watching as the two bigger kids have a catastrophic falling out. This is a seismic shift with staggering implications. How did the US get so thoroughly dethroned? The answer: a messy cocktail of aggressive immigration policies, disregard for labor rights, and a breakdown in trust between the US government and FIFA. Tonight, we'll unpack what went wrong, who's to blame, and what this means for the future of sports and global politics. Buckle up, this is going to be a wild ride. To grasp today's disaster, let's rewind to 2018. Back then, FIFA was desperate for a safe, stable host after the controversies of Russia and Qatar. Enter the United 2026 bid, the US, Canada, and Mexico, promising unity, infrastructure, and cash. The plan was overwhelmingly America-centric: 78 of 104 matches in the US, with all the big games on American soil. Canada and Mexico were given supporting roles, hosting 13 matches each. Even from the start, there were concerns, especially about US immigration policies and international relations, visa-free access for all players, officials, and fans, and uphold human rights and labor standards. These weren't suggestions, they were non-negotiable requirements. At the time, these guarantees seemed like a formality. For a while, preparations went smoothly. Host cities got ready, sponsors signed on, and fans dreamed big. But beneath the surface, political realities began to clash with FIFA's requirements. The promises made in 2018 were about to be tested, and would fail spectacularly. The cracks in this grand partnership were already forming, setting the stage for today's fallout. The United Dream was about to unravel. The first major cracks appeared in mid-2025. FIFA demanded an open, accessible tournament, but the US government doubled down on control and restrictive policies. FIFA's new human rights policy required real action to protect workers and communities. US host cities, especially in states with weak labor laws, failed to meet these standards, ignoring wage theft and safety concerns. By the August 2025 deadline, several cities hadn't submitted required labor agreements or human rights plans. The situation escalated at a FIFA Club World Cup event in Miami, where heavy-handed US security delayed teams and officials. This public debacle signaled to FIFA that the US wasn't honoring its commitments. What started as minor missteps became a full-blown crisis. FIFA saw a host nation unable or unwilling to play by the rules. The American fumble was now impossible to ignore. If labor issues were a slow burn, immigration was the explosion. The US had promised visa-free access for all World Cup participants, a non-negotiable FIFA rule. But in June 2025, a sweeping new travel ban threatened to bar players and fans from a dozen countries. FIFA issued warnings, but the White House stood firm, prioritizing national security over global commitments. The breaking point came after a US military operation in Venezuela triggered international outrage. FIFA's Emergency Council declared the US could no longer guarantee safe, free travel for all teams and fans. The refusal to grant blanket visa waivers was a direct rejection of the World Cup's core principle. FIFA, notorious for looking the other way in the past, drew a hard line. The US had challenged FIFA's authority and lost. The organization revoked hosting rights, sending a thunderous message to the world. The World Cup would go on, just not in America. FIFA's patience had run out. Beyond politics, the battle for labor rights played out in every host city. FIFA, stung by Qatar's scandals, demanded enforceable labor protections. Some U.S. cities like Seattle worked with unions to meet standards. Others, especially in right-to-work states, ignored them. As deadlines passed, American cities lagged behind, treating labor agreements as optional. FIFA saw this as a profound lack of respect for its new framework. After Qatar, another World Cup tainted by worker exploitation was unacceptable. The U.S. failed to prove it could protect workers, and paid the price. The fallout was immediate and intense. FIFA's president called the move necessary to protect the tournament's integrity. The U.S. government lashed out, calling FIFA's concerns political posturing. U.S. Soccer's president called it a devastating blow and vowed to explore legal options. In Canada, the mood was jubilant. Prime Minister Trudeau promised a welcoming, inclusive tournament. Canadian cities scrambled to prepare for their expanded roles. Mexico, meanwhile, stayed quiet, content with its unchanged share. The official statements tell the story. FIFA asserted its power, the US cried foul, and Canada embraced its new role. The economic fallout is staggering. The US loses billions in projected revenue, jobs, and prestige. 11 American cities invested heavily in stadiums and infrastructure. Now, that money is gone. Local leaders face political and financial nightmares. For Canada, it's a windfall: billions in new investment, jobs, and global attention. Cities like Toronto and Vancouver will see their roles massively expanded. Montreal and Edmonton, previously left out, are now back in the game. The reversal is historic. One nation's loss is another's triumph. American sponsors and broadcasters scramble to adjust. Billions are now flowing north, all because of broken promises. Why did FIFA finally act after decades of controversy? Sports governance expert Dr. Stefan Szymanski says it was a calculated move. After the disasters of Russia and Qatar, FIFA needed to prove its new human rights policy meant something. The US was the perfect test case. By revoking America's hosting rights, FIFA sent a message: our rules are not optional. The US refusal to guarantee visa-free access was a direct attack on FIFA's authority. FIFA couldn't allow a host nation to pick and choose who attends. The risk to their brand was too great. Sacrificing the American market was worth it to protect global credibility. This is a warning to all future hosts: play by FIFA's rules, or lose the privilege. The message is clear. Governmental guarantees are non-negotiable. If you want to host, you follow the rules, no exceptions. The dust is settling on one of the most stunning days in sports history. The US has been told to take a seat as the World Cup moves north. This is a story of political polarization, global standards, and the power of sport. For the US, it's a moment for self-reflection, a lesson that domestic policy has global consequences. This wasn't about being woke, it was about failing to meet basic obligations. For human rights advocates, it's a landmark victory, but vigilance is still needed. The spotlight now turns to Canada and Mexico to deliver on their promises. The final whistle has blown on America's World Cup dream. The fallout will be immense, but the message is clear. Principles and rules matter. Sometimes you get a red card before you even step onto the field. Join the conversation online. What do you think of FIFA's decision? Good night.